Well, hello everyone, welcome to another video. It is me, Desiree, and today we're doing a little Monstera collection. So I think I have 6 or 7 Monsteras, and it's crazy how wildly different each of the plants is. A couple of them look similar-ish, but I think they're different enough to own both of them. But I'm just gonna go through my collection, show you what I have, where I bought it, how much it was if I remember, my care tips, best practices, and all that kind of stuff. But I thought it would be fun just to kind of show you all of my Monsteras. So the first one right here, let's talk about this one. I'm gonna say this one is my favorite to all of these. I originally had intended to do a ranking video, like ranking all my Monsteras, but I couldn't bring myself to put any of them lower than number 1. Anyway, so we're just doing collection. But this is the Monstera siltepecana, and look at this beauty. Look how this grows. It just looks like a waterfall of beautifulness. I usually have this one sitting right here in my background, but I love this one because it really looks and behaves like a pothos in a way. So let me move these babies out of the way. The care is very similar to a pothos in my opinion and experience, but of course everybody struggles with different plants, and I have seen people say that this one is not that easy for them. But for me, this one is kind of like a set it and forget it kind of plant. I literally just have it there in the background and I water it when it's dry, and that's kind of it. I have it in this room, which is a window, west facing window. So nice ambient light throughout the day. You know, the room's lit up throughout the day, but really like super blasted with light in the late afternoon and of course as the sun is setting. And this plant really seems to do great with that kind of care. It's just growing and growing and growing. I do have it on a stick because it came with the stick, and I kind of liked the way it looked, kind of going up this way and also growing down this way. I do let this plant get all the way dry before I water it. I have at times let it go too far and it's very wilted, but it does perk back up. I try not to let this one get that far. I just found that when I do let it get and stay dry for too long, a couple of leaves will immediately crisp up. Like this one here I just recently cut. It got really crispy on the end. And I find that usually happens when I let the plant get and stay dry for too long. But I don't supplement humidity with this one at all. It just grows and grows and grows. And I think it's so cool how this grows in like a cluster. Like look how cool that is. It's like curling up like this. There's that one, and then this one too that's growing in a little cluster. I think it's such a cool like way that it's growing. It doesn't have any leaves right here on this whole vine. It's like they're all collected here on the bottom. And I'm always tempted to cut this and propagate it and like root it in water and fill it, like make it a fuller plant. But I really like the way those two, like, I don't know, they just look kind of cool, don't they? I think it looks cool. So yeah, I love this one a lot. I got this one from Cactus Club. Let me double check the price real quick. You know, I could have sworn I bought this at Cactus Club and it's not on my like purchase history. Shoot, I don't know where I bought this then. I could have sworn, like where else would I have got this from? Darn, I don't remember, sorry. But I love it so much. I would highly recommend this one, but of course people struggle with plants here and there, but this one for me has been super duper easy. I really just treat it like a pothos. It just kind of sits there. It's been in the same spot, I think, since I got it. You know, like I said, normal light and then gets blasted with light in the afternoon, but it seems to really enjoy that kind of care. So I love this one. I totally would purchase it again. I love it so, so much. I don't see this around where I live, so I bought this online, like I said, but I don't remember where. Sorry. Gonna put it back in his home now. All right, so the next one is, I keep forgetting this has this big old vine. This one is called Monstera pinnatipartita, and I dare you to find me a more fun plant name to say, pinnatipartita. I did buy this from Cactus Club, and it was $38 for a 5-inch plant, and I bought this in November of 2022. I thought I had this a little longer than that, but you know, the receipts don't lie. This plant is so beautiful, and I wasn't going to buy it because it looks so similar to a plant I already own, which is what I'm going to show you here in a little bit. But I love the leaf shape because it's a little asymmetrical. The vein right here is right in the middle, but one side of the leaf is bigger than the other, and I just love that shape. I did just clean these leaves so they're nice and glossy, but it has a lot of texture to it. It's bumpy. It's got like really deep veins. It's just a really beautiful plant. This one is very, very thirsty right now. I tested it yesterday and I forgot to water it. But the soil is completely dry. The leaves, look, let me look at it. It looks a little bit wilted. They also feel kind of limp, so I'm definitely gonna water this one right after I finish this video. It also has this leaf that's dying off. I'm not sure if this is because I let it stay dry for too long, but sometimes, you know, leaves just naturally fall off. It's not the end of the world. If the whole plant was turning yellow, yeah, I'd feel like I did something wrong, but leaves are gonna fall off. It's not the biggest deal in the world. It is growing this giant vine, and I'm thinking it's because it's not getting enough light. At least that's kind of what I've learned. You know, these other leaves have grown so closely together, and then as I've had it, it's grown this giant vine with no leaves. Like you could see one leaf there, and then there's like this 6-inch gap, and then one leaf, and then right here it's putting out another leaf. I want to say it's because of the light that I have it in. I do have this in a shelf, a top shelf, in a north-facing window situation in my living room. And, you know, I think it would definitely thrive and get bigger leaves if it had more light. But I kind of like this big weird vine. It looks nice on the bookshelf that I have it on. But this one looks like it'd be really easy to propagate, like to just root it in water. It has these little nodes right here, right next to each leaf. You could just cut that right there and stick that in some water and some roots will grow. And then I could kind of plant it back in here and make it nice and full. But I also kind of like the vine. Let me know what you would do. I feel like eventually I'm gonna cut it off because I think the leaves are gonna get smaller and smaller and smaller as we go. But as far as care for this one, it's super duper easy. Again, I let it dry out and then water it. I have it in this terracotta pot, and I kind of wish I had it in clay because I don't think this plant loves to be dried out for too long. It will wilt right away, but I haven't found any of the leaves get crispy or anything as long as you catch it in time and don't leave it dry or wilted for too long. I don't supplement humidity for this one at all, and it seems to do great with that kind of care. It would do better, I think, in higher light, but I like where it is, and I'm okay with it kind of growing in this way. If it continues to put out just a long vine with no leaves, yeah, I'll move it into a brighter situation, but I like it like this for now. And I think it's really cute. Obviously, you know, if you put it up like this, it'll grow up onto a pole, but I kind of like this long, weird vine right there. So yeah, I love this one. Pinnatipartita. Love that name. All right, the next one you have seen before, probably 2 or 3 times I featured this one. This is my Monstera Thai constellation. I did buy this one from Walmart.com via Wild Interiors, and I had never purchased a plant on Walmart.com before, but it arrived in a pristine condition and great shape. It was expensive. It was $195, but as far as I've seen, this plant is expensive no matter where you buy it, and I think the price was super fair for how great quality the plant was, how great it arrived, and how wonderful it's doing now. I did do an unboxing when I bought this, and I'll link that in the description box in case you want to see how it arrived, because buying a really expensive plant like this online can be very daunting because, like, is it going to arrive in great shape? How is it going to get here, especially if you're paying a lot of money for it? So I'll link that video down below so you can see how it arrived. It was perfect. I would totally buy another plant from Wild Interiors on Walmart.com. It came in great shape. But yeah, this one was super expensive. I don't regret buying it for a second because it's so beautiful. And Wild Interiors did share with me that they're restocking this plant on Walmart.com on April 4th. So if you've always wanted one and you like the way mine looks, you saw my unboxing, you think it arrived in great shape, I would check it out from Walmart.com. It arrived awesome, and I think the price was very fair for the kind of plant it is, and how it's been doing as well. I'll link that listing down below, like straight to Walmart.com in case you want to see it. It's not an affiliate link or anything like that. It's just there for your convenience. It will show that it's out of stock right now, but on the 4th, they said they are restocking it. So if you want one, check out that link, maybe bookmark it so you don't miss out. Anyway, I love this plant. This one absolutely loves the light though, and I have kind of learned that lesson, I don't want to say the hard way, but I learned it as I went along. So I originally had this plant right here on this desk, which I don't know how far that is, maybe 10 feet away from the window. And the plant was bending his whole little plant body that way, like it was almost flat on the pot to get to the window. So I moved it right underneath the window on a table, and I turned it, and it started going like this. So now it's standing up pretty straight towards the window. This also is in this room where it gets the south facing light, and it absolutely loves that light. But Like I said, it gets blasted with light late afternoon, evening, just like the rest of the plants in this room do. And it seems to be doing really, really well with that care. In my experience, Monstera, especially deliciosa, and I guess this one, love the light. Actually, I guess all of these plants would really love the light, but this one seems to really, really love bright light. The watering on this one is where I'm finding it a little tricky. Wild Interiors did send me some care tips on this and said, don't let it dry out. And I have let this one get dry, I think 2 or 3 times at this point. And it's just because I'm used to doing that with my deliciosa. And this one looks so similar to one that I thought it would have the same care. But it has developed these 2 little brown crispy spots right here. And I'm guessing it's because of the watering. Like, I've been letting it get dry. And in my experience, any of my plants that I have been letting get dry all the way and they don't appreciate that, they will start sucking the moisture out of the leaves and creating little dry spots. That's what my guess is what that is, because I've seen other people's plants that don't let theirs get all the way dry and they don't have those brown spots. So I did just water this yesterday or the day before. I'm gonna stay on top of it now. Maybe I shouldn't have put it in a terracotta pot. I don't know, I will experiment with that. But Wild Interiors did say, don't let it get all the way dry. It doesn't appreciate that. And I'm guessing it's gonna tell you it doesn't appreciate it by getting brown spots on the leaves. I'm sure this plant would appreciate some humidity. I don't supplement humidity with mine just because of where I have it in here and the lighting that I like it to have. I don't want the humidifier in this room because I do have a lot of plants in here, but also my little cat tower thing is in here. I also have a lot of makeup in this room and I don't want it to be in a humid environment. So I'm gonna give it the light it wants. I'll just have to stay up on the watering. This plant did grow this new leaf in my care. It did arrive with the new growth little point on it, and it did put out the leaf pretty quickly once I had it in a good lighting situation. And it has the fenestrations, which are these little slits. Such a beautiful leaf. This is an awesome plant. I don't regret buying it for a second. And I would buy another one from Wild Interiors via Walmart.com. Just because it was a great experience. It looked great, it's doing great, and it arrived bigger than I was expecting and exactly like the picture. So I'll leave that linked down below in case you want to get your hands on one. Again, not an affiliate link, it's just there for your convenience. Okay, moving on. Oh, this next one. Okay, I went on a trip recently and I went around checking all my plants to see if anything was going to need water while I was gone. And I guess I missed this one. This is my Monstera Peru. And I know it looks very sad right now, but let me tell you, this looks 1,000 times better than it did. It wilted to like old spinach. Like, that's how it looked. I freaked out. I ran and put it in the water right away and it didn't perk up. It stayed like that for probably 3 days and I was getting very concerned. So I put it back in the water. I just stuck it in a basin of water and let the water soak in through the drainage hole. And I left it there for the whole day, if not the next day, and look at it now. I mean, I know it doesn't look good to you, but to me, it looks so different. It's perking up. The leaves aren't as like rolled up as it was, but I adore this plant and I wish it wasn't wilted, because normally it's growing up like this and it's just like this long straight up vine. And I know this looks very similar to the pinnatipartita that I just showed you here. It has the same exact kind of leaf design where the vein is right in the middle, but one side of the leaf is bigger than the other. But okay, it looks so similar, but it's different enough that I had to buy both of them, okay? I know, well, us planty people will justify buying any plant, but this one does have a lot more bumps on the leaves and a lot more texture, and it's also a darker green, where the pinnatipartita is, you know, like your normal traditional jade green, but the Peru is a lot darker, and it looks like a tortoise shell. I did buy this one also from Cactus Club. Let me double check the price. Whoa, I actually bought this a long time ago. I got this November 28th of 2021. Wow, I've had this for a long time. It was $32 for a 4-inch plant, and in my care, I think it's put out these 3 leaves. It's a very, very slow grower in my opinion, but I also have this in a low light area and it's been doing fine. It hasn't declined at all. The leaves look good. I mean, I did let it dry out and stay dry as a bone. So it has some crispiness on it now and it's just not looking the best. but I love this plant. I 100% would buy another one. As far as care for this one, it does not like to be dry as a bone, and I usually let my plants dry out. This one will wilt if it's dry, but normally it perks right back up, but I think I just left this one for way too long. Lighting situation, if it's low light, it's not going to thrive or grow very quickly. I don't have this in a high light situation, so I don't even know how to compare it to low light, but I can imagine higher light, it would do better. I really wish I didn't put it in this terracotta pot. I used to have it in the same ceramic pot that I had this one in. One of these little square ones here, but the soil was looking pretty bad and I just wanted to give it a little facelift, so I put it in a terracotta pot and I loved the way it looked. But this is like sucking the moisture out of the soil so much faster that I keep forgetting that I need to check on it a lot more often. So mistakes were made, but I hope the plant does make a comeback because I love that one a lot. But I would purchase that again, but just in one single vine. Like I don't want a big full plant. I love the way the smaller one looks with just one little vine. I have two more to show you. The next one I want to talk about is the Monstera deliciosa, the very famous Monstera deliciosa. I am just going to insert some video here because this plant is so big. I won't be able to bring it in here. I bought this one from fastgrowingtrees.com. It was $24. I got it in March of 2021 and it arrived in the mail. It was the first plant I ever purchased in the mail, and it arrived so much bigger than I was expecting. This plant is a lot easier to care for than I was expecting. It was my first like exotic plant that I ever bought. One of the first plants I ever bought actually. It arrived in great shape. It was so cheap for what it was, but I also think now that I have more experience and I've seen like plant prices fluctuate over the last couple of years, Monstera deliciosa is the one that really hasn't fluctuated too much. I think $25 for like a decent size is a good price to pay. It grows so fast if you give it a ton of light. I have this one right in front of the window in a south-facing window. It gets light all day long. It gets like direct rays right on the leaves throughout the day, and it just thrives and thrives and thrives. It's constantly putting out new leaves. As far as watering goes, I do let this one get all the way dry before I water it, and it seems to really do okay with that kind of care. That's what I've been doing with this since I had it. This one will thrive in some bright light, but in lower light, it's not gonna do anything. I used to have this in my apartment where we only had one window, and it never grew a leaf, it never did a thing. But once I brought it here to this house, it just like exploded with growth. It's gonna constantly grow, get really big. It's a big statement plant. And it's really easy to take care of. So obviously, you know, care for plants is relative. Some plants are easy for some and not so easy for others. This one's really easy for me. I think if you can care for a pothos and you find pothos easy, you can easily care for this one. It looks a lot more complicated than it actually is. Let it get dry and then like completely drench it with water. Give it as much bright light as possible, and it's gonna do great for you. I absolutely love this plant. I always wanna buy another one when I see a good one at the store, but I don't need another one because this one is big enough as it is. Okay, I got one more. Let me grab it. Ooh, I just sat on the vines. Oh no, I'm sitting right on the vines. Okay, I need to cut these vines off because they're just so scraggly, but I can't bring myself to do it. So this is the Monstera adansonii, and I just watered it, so I still have it in the plastic thing. So if it's crinkling, sorry. This is also one of my favorite plant with pot combinations. I keep wanting to do a video on that, but right now I only have like 2 to share. But I love this one. This planter has just gotten so much patina on it and like grody stuff, but I love the way that it looks. It looks so weathered, and I love the way that this plant looks just spilling out of it. So I actually owned 2 of these before, and the other one I ended up planting in here. I don't even know which piece it is now, but I didn't do really good with that first one because I didn't know how to take care of it. I didn't know the lighting and water and all that stuff. And now that I have this one, it is still a little bit tricky. I do have this one in my living room, but it's almost right underneath the skylight, so it gets nice light all day long. This also had never grown for me until I fertilized it. So I'm terrified of fertilizing my plants. I just can't bring myself to do it because I know I'm gonna do it wrong. I'm gonna use too much and it's gonna burn all the leaves off. And that's what I always hear, like, it'll burn your leaves. So I'm terrified of that. But when I repotted this into this bigger pot, I mixed in earthworm castings, and that's supposed to be like a natural kind of fertilizer. And this plant exploded with growth, and it grew all of these vines. But I think I'm gonna cut these off. They're just kind of scraggly and ugly looking. Anyway, I bought this, I think right here at Albertsons, right where I live, and I want to say it was like $12-ish. It wasn't this big, but it was sold as a hanging basket. I want to say like a 6-inch hanging basket. And I didn't think I was going to do good with this plant, but I saw a tip online. Someone said you can tell when it needs water if you were to pull the leaf down and it doesn't spring back like that. If it kind of just goes like this, it's very thirsty, but if it perks back up, you're good. So I struggled with the watering on this one until I saw that tip, and ever since it's been doing so good. This is one though that I usually do like it all the way dry, but I test it all the time with the little spring tip, and it seems to work every single time. I do have this one under the skylight. Like I said, it seems to really like it, but I don't know if it's enough light because look at these vines it's putting out. And I always kind of think that when your plant is putting out long vines with no leaves, it's not getting enough light. Like look how much vine there is with no leaf or its tiny little leaves. So I'm gonna cut those off, I think, maybe create another smaller plant with them. But this is the last one I wanted to share. This is one of my absolute favorites. I love the way that this looks. It just looks like an art piece. Like look at all the holes in these leaves. I absolutely adore this plant, and I would highly recommend it for anybody that loves Monstera. It is a little bit trickier to me. I think until I found the tip with the watering and I have it in like the same spot with the light all the time, it's been doing really good. But this one was one I found very tricky when I first got it. So that is it. That is my Monstera collection. We had the Thai constellation, pinnatipartita, adansonii, Peru, deliciosa, and siltepecana back here. But that is it. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you have any of these plants, let us know your care tips down below, especially if they're different from mine. You know, we could all learn from each other. Let me know if you have any of these, what your wish list is, all that kind of stuff. I love Monstera, and I'm always like, what's the newest one I gotta get? But that is it. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And I will see you later in another video. Goodbye.